Hi and welcome to this short training series produced by the Legal Aid New South Wales Elder Abuse Service team. The training package itself has been called If You Suspect Something, Say Something, because our main aim is to encourage workers like yourselves to speak up if you suspect elder abuse may be happening to an older person, or even if you just think something isn't right. My name is Jessica Sullivan and today I'm joined by Mary Lovelock, Senior Solicitor from the service, Tanya Chapman, who is the other solicitor in the service, and Lynn McLennan, the social worker in our service. We decided to put these webinars together when COVID first hit and the education side of our service had to change as we were no longer able to head out into the community and speak to people face to face. The idea originally came from one of our wonderful stakeholders, Jenilyn Turkildson, who works for Connectability Australia, and she mentioned the need for some basic training that could be easily accessed and shared around with organisations on the Central Coast. So from there, we developed 5 short webinars. Part 1, we will define elder abuse and start to understand who it affects and who is committing it. In Part 2, we take a look at the signs to look out for that could mean elder abuse is occurring and talk a bit about ageism in our society and how we can challenge ageist opinions and beliefs. In Part 3, we look at 3 case studies. We explore some de-identified real-life examples of elder abuse and some of the options the team suggest you as workers could take. In Part 4, we discuss in depth the importance of having the conversations with older people about this issue and suggest a few ways that you might have those conversations and also a few things to avoid. And then Part 5, where we bring it all together, we discuss the referral options that are available and more resources that you can use and refer to in your work. But just to get us started off, Mary, do you want to just give us a little introduction as to why we're talking today, why we're running this training?
Thanks, Jess. My name's Mary Lovelock and I'm the Senior Solicitor of the new Elder Abuse Service. And it's a service that's set up to help older people who live on the Central Coast who are experiencing or at risk of elder abuse.
My name is Tanya Chapman and I'm one of the solicitors in the service.
I'm Lynn McLennan and I am the social worker on the Elder Abuse Service.
The service is a 3-year pilot that's funded by the Commonwealth Government. We're a team of 2 solicitors. We've got a social worker and some admin support. We work in a multidisciplinary model where we provide wraparound services to the client with our combination of social work and legal assistance. We also work closely with key stakeholders to receive referrals. For clients to be eligible for the service, it's a little bit narrow in terms of the clients we see. So it's a geographical service, so they have to live on the Central Coast. They have to be over 65, or for our Aboriginal clients, they have to be over 50, and they have to be at risk of or experiencing elder abuse. But we don't want community workers to be thinking about, is it elder abuse? Is it not elder abuse? I don't want to worry that service. We want community workers to contact us and talk to us about what they're seeing in the community. Because the purpose of this pilot is to gather information about elder abuse because there's not enough of the picture of elder abuse out there. And community workers' stories are the stories that we want to capture. And so you can contact Tanya and I. You can just ring our legal aid office, 43245611, and you can be put through directly or we've got an elder service email address that you can refer clients to us. But I guess the main thing we want to tell you is just call us and talk to us about it because the information that you've got is really rich information to paint a picture of what elder abuse is on the Central Coast, and we need that information.
But the overall aim of this training is that we want to help you know what elder abuse is and understand a bit more about why it happens. We want to encourage you to speak up for older people and their rights. We wanted to help create positive change in our community, and we want to empower older people to speak up for themselves and their rights. So let's get started with part 1. So why do the community and health workers listening today need to know about elder abuse? Why is it important for them to understand?
Elder abuse is a really important issue. We're an ageing population in Australia, and in about 10 years' time, 1 in 5 people are going to be over 65 years of age. And elder abuse can have devastating consequences. These can be physical, financial, emotional, and they're not just for the older person, but they're for their family and their community.
We thought it was important for you to know about elder abuse because you are people that are working on the front line with older people, and you're often trusted by these older people or clients. And it's important for you to know about elder abuse because everybody has rights, and especially today we're talking about the fact that older people have rights, and that can often be forgotten, and that older people are valuable members of our society. So we really want to bring home that elder abuse is everyone's business, and it's up to everyone to speak up for them and for their rights.
Many older people have difficulty identifying themselves that they're subject to elder abuse. And many of our clients would have challenges in walking through the doors of legal aid to see our clients. So we're really talking to you as community workers who are working with our client base to be our community spotters of elder abuse.
So what is elder abuse?
I like the big, broad definition that says elder abuse is any act or omission that causes an older person harm or distress, and it's within a relationship of trust. And it's that last bit, within a relationship of trust, that really defines elder abuse, and it's what makes it a really complex and wicked problem for us as a community to deal with.
Elder abuse is any abuse of an older person by someone who is in a trusted relationship. So by someone who is a family member, a close personal friend, or someone who's a carer, but it has to be in that relationship of trust where the older person is abused.
So you can't be elder abused by someone you don't know. It's within that relationship of trust. And it can take the form of physical abuse, psychological abuse, neglect, financial, and sexual abuse.
And psychological abuse, it really just means it could be bullying, name-calling, isolating someone so they can't see family or friends, or they can't interact with their community, or can't participate in religious or cultural practices. So really just isolating them so they don't have any support networks. It could also be threatening them, so emotional blackmail where you say, if you don't do this, you can't see your grandchildren, or if you don't give me money, I'll put you in a care home. So it could be any of that bullying, harassment, or just verbal abuse.
And financial abuse comes in a whole lot of different forms, but at the heart of it, it's somebody within that trusted relationship using that older person's money, and not for their interest, but for themselves.
And the important points that I've just got here up on the screen that it's really good to think about and remember is that research suggests that as many as 50,000 older people in New South Wales may have experienced some form of abuse. It is estimated that only 1 in 5 cases of elder abuse is reported, and the majority of alleged abusers are trusted family members, neighbours, friends, or paid carers. We're now going to play a short video produced by the Australian Attorney General's Department, which was developed to help raise awareness of keeping our older communities safe. And after this, we're going to talk a bit more about the types of elder abuse mentioned in the video.
Elder abuse comes in many forms and can increase during times of hardship and stress. It can be financial, emotional, physical, sexual, or neglect, and can include standalone abuse or a combination of the different types of abuse. Do you know where all your money is being spent? Do you have access to your family and friends? Are you experiencing physical abuse? Do you consent to the medication that you're on? You may feel you don't deserve help. You may be worried about damaging family relationships. You may feel that you won't be believed. You may worry that you don't have the power to change your situation. Be reassured, you do. Even if you are living with someone who is being abusive, there are services available. There are a number of local and national organisations and services created to support you, including healthcare service providers, financial counselling providers, mental health and sexual assault teams, the police and domestic violence and elder abuse specialists. For more information, head to compass.info or phone 1-800-ELDER-HELP. That's 1-800-353-374. In an emergency, contact 000. An initiative developed in collaboration with state and territory governments.
So we'll move on now to the perpetrators of abuse, which we've touched on briefly, but Mary, would you like to?
Yeah. So as Tanya pointed out, elder abuse is occurs within that relationship of trust. And it's probably no surprise that over 50% of people who are perpetrating elder abuse are adult sons and daughters. It also can include a spouse or a partner, and it also can be, carers, other relatives, friends, but overwhelmingly it's those close family members. And that's what makes it so difficult, because once you're a parent, you're always a parent, and it's very difficult sometimes for older people to be able to feel free to speak up about some really unsatisfactory behaviour of their own family.
And we wanted to put this chart up for you as well to really make it clear that we know that workers like yourselves are working to help older people, and there's often, negative media or bad press about abuse going on inside these kind of services. But it's not those people that are often committing elder abuse. It is these trusted family members, friends, neighbours, etc. So we're here to work with you, and we're asking you to help us, to work with us to try and spot those people. And this is just another chart just mentioning the types of abuse, breaking it down so that you can really see those differences.
Yeah, so overwhelmingly, you can see that psychological abuse is the most commonly reported abuse. In our particular service on the Central Coast, we see a lot of financial abuse, but the more I come to understand how elder abuse plays out, the more I see now that behind financial abuse is also a person standing over that older person, maybe, demanding $20 out of their, pension or their wallet every week, or taking their ATM card, which is clearly a form of psychological abuse as well too.
And then we've got neglect, which is another large form of elder abuse, physical abuse, obviously, and sexual abuse. So those are the types very briefly. There's one other point that we wanted to make quite clear is that at the moment, elder abuse is not classified as a crime. So Tanya, would you like to talk us through this a little bit?
So currently in New South Wales, the act of elder abuse itself is not a crime. So where people use this term, they sometimes say, oh, it's elder abuse, they should be charged, or we should call the police. But it doesn't exactly work that way, because there is no criminal offence of elder abuse. Not in New South Wales. It needs to fit within existing legal framework. So it needs to fit under another form of criminal law. So it might come under theft or stealing or fraud, or it needs to come under civil law. So it might be civil action to get repayment of money taken. But it fits under existing laws currently. Just because it isn't a criminal offence doesn't mean that there aren't things that we can do to assist the older person and help them escape an abusive relationship. So we really do rely on you to understand these other forms of abuse, and even where they're not crimes, to report them and to seek assistance so that the older person isn't left alone in this abusive relationship.
So, as is on your screen, just to reiterate, some abusive acts, like physical or sexual assault, are classified as crimes, but the other forms of abuse that we talked about, psychological, emotional, and neglect, can obviously be a lot harder to identify. So, it just comes down to services like the Elder Abuse Service, where we work, and other services out there, working with older people and communities to identify those crimes and work with older people and their families. So, as that point says, all of us have a moral duty to look out for older people. So, if you think something is wrong, essentially you should tell someone, whether that be your manager or a supervisor or another colleague. If you notice something with an older client that you don't think is right, then tell someone. That's our message overall throughout all of these training videos. So that's all for part 1 today. Thank you for joining us. Please follow on to part 2. And if you do suspect anything, or you would like some advice or to get in touch with us, our email address is on the screen there now. And if you or someone you know is experiencing elder abuse, please call 1-800-ELDER-HELP or 1-800-353-374, or visit compass.info. Their website has some wonderful resources. So thank you